Welcome, Ms. Shamirrah Hill.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shamirrah Hill. I am the co-founder of DG Self-Publishing. I'm also the author of The Shine Monster, as well as Shana's Greatest Gift, 2 best-selling children's books. I love books. I actually go into different schools and organizations, and I teach workshops that integrate social emotional learning and the arts and literacy. I'm a former K-12 educator. I also sell my books in bulk to schools and organizations, and I'm very passionate about education and overcoming social and emotional challenges so that we can become the best versions of ourselves. I'm also passionate about the power of great books. So before I get started with today's talk, I just want to say thank you to Erica Maxwell. Erica, thank you for inviting me to come here and speak in celebration of Black Children's Book Week here in Phoenix, Arizona. I just really appreciated you reaching out and also creating the opportunity for current and aspiring children's book authors to be able to tap into the knowledge and resources that can help them reach their goals and go to the next level. I also want to thank Grassroots Bookstore and Brother Ali and his team here at the bookstore for creating this amazing space. This amazing, inspiring, empowering space where we can come together and enjoy great books, and where we can come together and celebrate Black Children's Book Week. So the topic of my talk today is Black excellence and Black stories, creating children's books that empower, inspire, and sell. Black stories deserve to be told, and they deserve to be told with excellence. It's something I'm very passionate about. And storytelling has always been an important part of Black culture, right? Through storytelling, we can pass down our history, we can share memories, we can share laughter, we can share parts of ourselves. So it's always been important. And one of the best ways to pass on stories in a way that they're not lost or forgotten, and that they continue to live on even beyond the time that we're here living on this earth, is through books. By putting our stories in books. Books are so powerful. Books change lives. Books shape our perspectives, the way we see ourselves, the way we see the world around us. So books are so powerful. But unfortunately, within the Black community, we have a culture of not reading books like in our free time, or feeling like books just aren't for us. And it's unfortunate because we, like as the Black community, we're so far behind with literacy, with reading and writing. And it's partially because we don't see ourselves in a lot of the books. And kids, if they don't see themselves, they may not feel like the books are for them. They may not be able to relate to them. That's why it's so important for them to be represented. When books are relevant, culturally relevant, and we can see ourselves, they can help kids to build up their confidence, develop self-love, become aware of so many different career opportunities, just expose them to so many different things. But it starts with having books that are actually engaging, that they'll actually want to read. And that's why it's so important for our children to be able to see themselves. When it comes to Black characters and Black children's books, we are very underrepresented. There's not enough of it, it's true. It's a problem, but it's a problem that we can do something about. There used to be a time where we weren't even allowed to read, right? It was illegal, it was forbidden, but that time has passed. So now the only one stopping us from reading is ourselves. We're the problem. But the good news is we're also the solution. We don't have to just be limited to our kids only reading the books that are assigned when they're in school. We can take our kids to the library, to the bookstores. We can read with them at home. We can set a good example by reading ourselves and letting them see us read. And we can create books. Yes, there's a lack, but we can fill that gap. We can be the change that we want to see. And that's where self-publishing comes in. We don't have to wait for a traditional publishing company anymore to give us permission to create culturally relevant books, to create stories that we relate to, that can inspire and empower our children the way we want. We can do it for ourselves. So let me just ask a question. Raise your hand if you have ever wanted to write a book. Any kind of book, for adults or for children. Okay. And raise your hand if you have ever wanted to write a children's book specifically. Okay. Now raise your hand if you actually have written and published a children's book. Okay. Raise your hand again. Okay, so round of applause for Erica. Awesome. So that's awesome, Erica. But as you notice, there weren't a whole lot of hands. And so here's a thing. Most of us have a book inside of us. Most of us have some type of an idea or a vision for a book, but less than 2% of people who have book ideas will actually follow through with writing those books. And then the percentage of people who actually move beyond writing and actually complete the whole book development process and publish the book is even less than 2%. Isn't this unfortunate? And it's like, okay, why is that? Why are so many people desiring to accomplish this goal, but so few of us actually do it? A big part of that is we're waiting for the perfect time. We are thinking, eventually I'll do it one day, but right now life is happening, I'm too busy, there's too much going on, and we're waiting for the perfect time. But the thing is, the perfect time is not going to come. Life is going to happen and keep on happening. And so there's not a magical moment when all the stars align and there's absolutely nothing going on with work or family that's going to challenge you or pull for your attention. The people who are successful are the ones who get stuff done even though life is happening, even though there's a lot on their plate, even though stuff is going on, they do it anyway. And so we have to be willing to stop procrastinating and stop just talking about what we want to do and actually take action, actually do it. A lot of people are great at just saying what they're going to do, or sometimes in the Black community is what I'm finna do, right? I'm finna write a book, I'm finna start a business, I'm finna get my life together. But that finna never seems to come around. So like something my husband likes to say is, finna bees don't make no honey. Finna bees don't make no honey. So you can keep on talking what you finna do, or you can actually do it, actually take action. There are 3 kinds of people in the world. Those who make things happen, those who watch what happens, and those who say, what happened? And so the choice is yours to choose what type of person you're going to be. Be the type of person who makes things happen. So going back to the fact that many of us have these ideas for books, but not many of us actually do it, let's talk about why that is. My husband and I, we have been helping authors turn their ideas into published children's books for a little over 9 years now, going on 10 years. And so we've noticed some common themes, some common things that tend to come up, some common obstacles. And there are 3 major things, 3 major roadblocks that specifically tend to hold Black aspiring children's book authors back from success. The first one is procrastination, which we talked about, the infinities. The second one is trying to do everything by themselves. Now, for some people, you might hear self-publishing and think, okay, it's self-publishing, so I'm doing everything by myself. But no, self-publishing is not about doing everything yourself. You give yourself permission because you're not waiting for the approval or permission from a traditional publishing house, but it's like a beautiful musical performance by a band. You have your drummer and your person singing, the person on the sax. Like there's all these people coming together to make a masterpiece. You don't have one person on 5 different instruments and singing and dancing. That would be a mess. It would be a disaster. And when you try to do everything that's involved in creating a children's book by yourself, it's a disaster too. Publishing a children's book the right way is meant to be a team effort. It's meant to be a collaborative experience. And we have to get out of this trying to do everything by ourselves. There are several key players. And I know for people who have not published a children's book before, you might not be aware. So I'm going to just kind of break it down in terms of who all should be on your team when you are creating and publishing a children's book. First thing you need is an editing team. Okay, so you need a content editor or developmental editor. They're the ones who look at the big picture of your story, making sure that it flows right, it's structured like a children's book, not like a research paper or a travel blog or something like that. It's actually structured like a children's book. It flows properly, your characters are developed properly, all of that. You also need a line editor or copy editor to look at your sentence structure, your grammar, making sure your language and vocabulary is appropriate for the target audience, things like that. And then you need a proofreader to make sure that there's no typos, that the punctuation, the italicization, everything is on point. So you're not publishing a book with typos and spelling errors and all of that, okay? So you need an editing team. After that, you need an illustrator, a professional children's book illustrator, not someone who can just, paint landscapes or do caricature, someone who's specifically skilled in children's book illustration. It's very important. They need to be a professional, not just, your cousin or the drummer at church or somebody who said they can draw. They need to actually be trained, have a portfolio where they can show you that they've done this before, people who can vouch for them, that they actually know how to follow through with commitments and get things done in a timely manner, like a professional children's book illustrator, okay? You also need a book cover designer who specializes in children's book covers, because designing children's book covers is different from covers for, romance novels, for example. So a children's book cover designer, please don't try to do it yourself because it's going to look a mess unless you actually are a professional cover designer. And people will judge your book by its cover. So if your book looks a hot mess, like you just threw it together, words running off the page, images all blurry and pixelated, stuff all formatting is all weird, like it's just visually unappealing, no one is going to want to purchase that book or even touch that book or have anything to do with it because the book, that's your biggest marketing tool, that's the first marketing tool, I should say, is the book. That's how people judge, make their first impression. So you need a professional book cover designer. You also need a layout designer. That's the person who puts the illustrations and the text together into your book. And it should be, done in a way that's visually pleasing. Again, if you don't want words running off the page and stuff all over the place, it needs to be laid out the way a children's book should be laid out based off of industry standards. You need a book formatter. That's the person who's going to make sure like the margins are correct and so that it can actually meet the approval of the printing company that you're working with, okay? So all those people are needed for you to create a quality product, a high quality product. Don't try to do it all by yourself. Please don't. Once the book is created, you also want to be able to market your book and sell your book with excellence. So you're going to need a professional graphic designer to create your marketing materials, right? So that your flyers don't look amateur and people aren't turned off when they see that because it looks like you just threw that together in any type of way. Or if you don't have a professional graphic designer, at least have templates created by a graphic designer where you're just inputting your name and your book title, things like that, but the visual components are actually done by a professional. You also want to have a professional website so that you can have a professional online presence and so that your book is easy to sell. You have a very simple way for people to purchase your book. They're not having to, meet you at your mom's house and give you cash and all that. Like, it should be a very simple process to order your book, okay? On top of all of that, you want to have a coach. If you've never done this before, get expert guidance from someone who's already been where you're trying to go. They've already accomplished the goals that you're trying to accomplish, so they can guide you through the process and you're not wasting time and money on doing things all out of order, creating a product that no one wants to buy. Invest in a coach, okay? So those are all the key players that you should have on your team when you're beginning this journey of creating and publishing a children's book, okay? So as I said, some people here self-publishing, they think they can do it all by themselves. Technically, you can. You can do your own editing, even though you're not an editor, and end up publishing a book with misspelled words all over the cover and all through the book. You can do your own illustrations, even though you're not an illustrator, and have, awkward-looking characters, arms and legs, different sizes. The black characters look like minstrel characters. Well, that tends to happen when we work with illustrators who just are not experienced with drawing black characters, but you can try to do it by yourself and not be happy with the results. You can do your own cover design and people will be turned off by it. You can do all that, but you should not. You should not do it. And if you really care about your project and you want to set it up for success and do it with excellence, because as I said, Black stories deserve to be told with excellence, then work with a professional team, okay? So we talked about the first 2 out of the 3 things: procrastination, trying to do everything by yourself. The third thing is being unwilling to invest in yourself and in your book project. A lot of authors, once they self-publish their book, they sell less than 100 copies. They spend all that time and effort and then no one even wants to buy the book. The ones who are most successful are the ones who actually invest into their children's book project. And in the Black community, for whatever reason, we just have this culture of not wanting to invest in ourselves. We will spend money on clothes and things like that, but we won't invest in the things that are going to create generational wealth and long-term success and true freedom. I'm talking about things like real estate, the stock market, entrepreneurship, personal development, travel. A lot of us don't even have a passport, but we just have this culture of not investing in ourselves. So we have to get past that and be willing to pay professionals for what they're worth. Don't try to convince them to do it for free to get their name out there. Don't try to go with the cheapest option because you don't want to take the cheap path. You want to take the right path so that you can really get the results that you want. Because if you're not willing to spend money on your book, why would anyone else want to? Okay. So be willing to take action instead of procrastinating. Be willing to work with the teams instead of trying to do it all yourself, and be willing to invest in yourself and in your book project. If you're willing to do those 3 things, then you'll be ahead of most children's book authors who are self-publishing, okay? My husband and I, we're the co-founders of DG Self-Publishing. We created the company to be able to guide authors throughout the process from start to finish, give them all the resources and the support that they need. And so we've solved a lot of the problems. We've been doing this for a while, so we can anticipate the type of situations and roadblocks that people will come across. So it's a comprehensive program. We have a full team of editors, designers, cover designers, illustrators, book layout designers, formatters, marketing material designers, everything. So you graduate from the program with your book published on Amazon, with your own author website, with the knowledge and tools and resources to be able to get your book into bookstores and libraries, because you get education as well. You get professional guidance, so you can get feedback throughout the process on your story, your designs, things like that. So it's a fully comprehensive program. Plus we have weekly coaching calls, which are group calls, so you don't have to go through this alone. We know that it's a very small percentage of people who will actually do this. So to be able to connect it to those people who are positive and like-minded and action takers, it's priceless. Usually when we go to the next stage in life or we move backward in life, it's because of who we're connected to. So it's definitely important to be connected to like-minded people who can help you to move forward and accomplish your goals. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you are an aspiring author or an author who's looking to just take your author business to the next level, we do have a table available that you can come and visit and talk to us. Some of you may not have published a children's book before, and you decide, you know what, I've been putting this on hold for an entire year, or 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. We have some clients we have one client named Ginger, actually. Her book was on hold for over 20 years until she connected with us. She connected with us, she invested, and she published 2 books in less than a year. So if you're serious about turning your vision into reality, come and connect with us so we can help you get started. For some of you, you may have already published a children's book before, but if you're honest with yourself, you didn't do it the right way. You cut corners, you took the path that would cost the least amount of money, and you sacrificed the quality of your book, and now it's very difficult to sell your book. We can help you by doing a complete book makeover. We've done that for clients who have done things the wrong way before coming to us. We'll be able to turn everything around and help them to get the results that they want. So there's available, the support is available, the resources are available. It's just about you taking advantage of it. There's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Don't try to do this alone. Connect with other people who can help you to push through any type of fear or insecurity that you're feeling about it, so you can do it anyway, just like everybody else who's on those coaching calls with you can. Connect with other people who can support you and show you the way, so you don't have to fall and not have anyone to pick you back up, so you don't get overwhelmed by the process and tap out like a lot of people do. Definitely connect to the support. So we're here to help you move forward and upward to higher levels of success, higher levels of income, and higher levels of impact. All right. So we look forward to connecting with you. Let's move forward and upward together.